stated, Justice in place in 2001, you are not allowed to cause harassment of an address outside Member of Parliament's home address.
No, there is no distance there, lady. I've just read the Act, and for vicinity, there is no distance, lady. No distance. And the Act does not include public places like shops and access where other rights are enforced. They also have, they're having a meeting under the Public Meetings Act, 1908, and you are breaking it up, and you are also committing an offence of preventing them transacting information to the public. That is the reason they're there. That is clearly obvious to you. It's obvious they're there to the public to transact, and you are committing offence, officer. You are committing multiple offences, preventing the transaction of information in a meeting to the public, which is clearly obvious they're doing it to them. So what? If they're near, you're trying to say the reason is it is a different reason when it's not, and they're covered for that. And you're breaking up the meeting as well as stopping them transact. It's a legal proceeding. The assembly of people are the peers who are subscribed to the legal document of the petition and given consent and judged that they're not committing an offence, right? Not a court that you would send them to a magistrate's court or a Crown Court, because there are no peers in a magistrate's court, lady. None. They have judged through lawful due process of the petition, signing it, that they don't think that it is a crime, and they have judged, entered judgment. Right? I've just read the act that you're referring to. It states the premises inside or premises nearby inside, or it means in their garden they own or on private land, and it also means the royals, and you can even go onto the royals' land to deliver the petition. You've got the right to do it as long as you go on there and deliver it and then come back off again. You can't prevent them from doing that. It's impossible in law, right? It does not, in that act, refer to public places where people can use consumer rights and trading standards to access shops and premises, and where they've got a right to be. It's in, like, for example, a vicinity. You might say that they can't loiter around directly outside their house, but that is pushing it. But if there was a shop next to their house, and they have bought something from that shop and need to go there, you'd be pushing it then, because then you'd be getting into black belt barrister. But they're nowhere near the vicinity. There's no distance, lady. None. You can't use a distance in there, and you can't apply it in a public place where they've got a right for public meetings. You'd have to prove that they were there for the purpose of, firstly, if you could prove they were there to harass Khan, but they wouldn't have to be doing anything else. They're actually transacting information with the public, and that is lawful, and you can't intervene in that or move them somewhere else. You can't actually move them somewhere else. There is no distance for the vicinity either. But I don't think that the police get the peer judgment part of it and understand the model and basis for it, for the legal process of the petition. And they'll have a problem if all of the whole entire of those people go into court and prosecute the police, because he got a lot of witnesses. The police are actually abusing their power. If they had have got their equipment out and used that, then there's additional offences there. Because they're actually using not only just harassment, but force on a lawful meeting. It is a lawful meeting. It's not just a lawful meeting. You could be in that town centre there and not breaking a law, but you don't have a law that says no one else has the right to intervene. That's the difference in rights. The police are under the presumption that they're there without a law that's saying that the police can't intervene. And that's the difference. The police don't seem to think there are any laws that forbid the police from acting. And that's the difference. The law is there to make it illegal. And not just anyone. It's not just the Joe public. The only people who bring prosecutions or arrest, which makes that specific thing illegal, the right to petition is focused on law enforcement personnel and judges and lawyers. The only people who could bring prosecution against them, and no one else. It specifically prevents police from acting because they're the ones who are trying to charge them. This woman is a criminal, and I don't know how they're going to charge them, because the police are the only ones who bring all the prosecutions. This is where you need actions against the police. This is where, in fact, Kingsley Hamilton's lawyer, they specialise in actions against the police. They specialise in actions against the police. So, and there's multiple police officers there intimidating them. So I think there's at least 20 or more police officers there. And you've got a load of witnesses. What Kingsley Hamilton needs to do is bring an action against the police for this, because this is crime.
It's quite far down the road, to be fair.
It's well within the vicinity and well within the legislation. Otherwise,
No, there is no number. I've just read it.
having this conversation.
She's blagging it. She's totally... That is a bluff. It is a lie. She's just saying vicinity. Well, you should ask her the question. What is the vicinity? What is the question? No, it's well. No, she thinks it's within the vicinity. I think it is. I say it is. But what's the number or distance? It means the actual premises. The word vicinity means within the. It specifically outlines the buildings and adjacent, being inside adjacent buildings, the land they own, and also private lands as well. You have actually got a right. You've got a right to actually go on tour to hand a petition to the king, I reckon, even in that act, because you've got the right to do it. They revoked the Tumultuous Petitioning Act. It's got nothing to do with any of that, though. It's to do with the fact that the petition is that they're entering a lawful process which is protected from the police. And there could be other people who are breaking that law that aren't. And that's the difference. The police think that it doesn't matter that you're doing political actions, because for some strange reason, the ministers have got it into the police's heads that there is no enactment in use or there is no special law or right when there is. And that is to forbid the police from intervening. This woman doesn't know the law. It's probably nearly as bad as Max Hill when he's supposed to be Director of Public Prosecutions. When there was law, there was 2 laws that even... There's more detail in the Town and Country Planning Act, which provides for painting on walls exactly and specifically, then this act is so vague. But it's not. It doesn't even matter whether it's vague or not. It doesn't matter whether it's vague or not. They can't do it, even if it wasn't vague. This type of action, using that enactment, is not... It is out of the remit of the police. They're not allowed to engage, approach, or intervene. And then, even if they were, the vagueness of it, this is now starting to show us what Sadiq Khan and some of those other people are going to be doing with these laws when they claim, oh, it's just general, it's just general. This policewoman here even if they weren't doing a petition, and even if they weren't protected, and even if it wasn't breaking up a public meeting and stopping them transact information, to those people there in those shops, they've got a right to petition those people in those shops there. Not up on the common. They're telling them to whom and where they can address the public and ask. That vicinity is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's never seen vicinity. You can't define it in law. There is no legal definition. And even if there was a measurement, which there isn't, who would judge it? In a magistrate's court, no one, because they've taken the jury away. In a Crown Court, the jury. Now, that means the jury would be deciding, not this police officer. But what the police officer is doing is she's breaking the law. She's a criminal woman, and I don't even think that she's educated in the law properly. She's abusing her authority and powers, and further to that, she just is wrong. I would have asked her, what's the distance? No, tell me what the distance is now, and I'll go measure it. Well, you show me where the vicinity is. Oh, it's here, it's here, it's here. One thing that you could do when you've got a massive amount of people like that, you've got an assembly of people, peers' opinion, and if they all say this is not the vicinity and there's only 5 police, you've actually got public people, and that opinion counts because you've got witnesses who say this isn't this. We decide what is the vicinity or not. You've got a small number of police officers with a law that has got no measurement or number on it. It's up to interpretation, and a small number of police officers who are saying, "Oh, we say this is within a vicinity." Well, what's the measurement of that? If all the people assembled say, "Well, it's not," then their opinion is different to what these police officers are. And how were they going to arrest them all anyway? I don't think if they'd arrested them, it would have gone far because, that measurement of that thing is very, very difficult to define. And it's specifically meant for really being directly outside the house or on land, but not public areas. Even if there's a couple of shops and a video store at the end of the street, you're pushing it to really stop kids from going there if there's no other shop. And they haven't got one of those other special orders out anyway. This is a complete, total abuse of police power. But Kingsley did say to them they should be ashamed of themselves, but I think he got a bit scared. I think, and that is harassment and intimidation. I think the police get a thrill out of it when there's a big group of people and they can just suddenly shift them, move on. That's power. And if Khan did send them, well, he shouldn't be mayor. I don't think he should be mayor, and he shouldn't be making laws that people are going to end up wanting to feel they need to express themselves to that degree and to that opinion, particularly when there's all shops there. And they've got a right to address those shops and so forth. And if it was harassment, why aren't all the shops saying that it's harassment? Why aren't all the shops complaining? It really is more for juvenile youths and things like that. I wouldn't really like it if I were engaged in a political thing, but I'm not a councillor or a mayor, and I'm not on the council making decisions of what. I'm a person who's suffering in my vicinity from buildings that, firstly, they didn't put planning notices up. Secondly, we objected and the council ignored it. And then they're blocking views off in our vicinity. And then they're changing all the, pavement corners and things like that when they don't want changing. And various other things, sending cars past, doing diversions and getting more traffic past, which is harassing us. The council and mayor are causing as much harassment to individuals in vicinities. And they don't care about it. They just want to carry on doing it and doing it and doing it. And they don't want to have to answer to anyone when they complain, except maybe outside the council. But then they've got all, security locks, codes, so forth. You can't even go into the council to meet anyone now. They have a computer on a chair when you go in, so you have to sit and talk to the computer in a chair. Mainly because people are annoyed with them. they've got to a point where the conduct of the council's got to a point where they can't engage with the public, and if they can't engage with the public, it means that they're not fit for the job, or they're definitely doing something wrong. Otherwise, the police must think that everyone's becoming criminal now. These police are... I've watched a lot of protests and a lot of demonstrations recently with Extinction Rebellion, Just Stop Oil, Stop Ulez. You know, that girl went and delivered a letter when she wasn't allowed to, and she got a specific order on. And she actually, I think they let her go. So from what I heard, she didn't get charged. And I still think that because the person's an MP and you've got a right to petition your MP, even deliver it to their house, like you have got the right to the king, even on his private royal property, which it covers in the Act. You know, I don't think a court can take that power away, because it's statute and it prevents judges and people from doing that.
Also,
if we were outside his house, I could understand that.
No, also to that, okay, there are also Section 14 conditions on this assembly, okay? So it can continue, but not here, okay? It may continue.
No, they can't tell people where to have a public meeting or who to address to transact. They can't do it because it is already a legal proceeding. It's already a legal proceeding.
But elsewhere. So if you wish to go to Tooting Common, got no problem with that, rather than City Hall.
She can't tell petitioners where, who, and to whom they need to collect signatures from and where, like the people in the shops there. She hasn't got the legal right or authority to do it. She is preventing the transaction of information in a meeting in public, also using an enactment which prevents the police from engaging with them or bringing any charges. And she's trying to say, I'm not letting you transact with the people here, right? So she's obstructing the right to petition certain individuals and people. It's wrong. The police are wrong. And if they don't get challenged legally, they're going to end up expanding these vicinities till, you know, kingdom come. Why didn't the government enact a distance? It's almost like the seatbelt, you know, when the seatbelt used to be the vicinity, and then they changed it to 50 metres, right? Why haven't they got 50 metres on Khan's house? Now they want the vicinity. Why don't they have the vicinity when there's a seatbelt law? But they didn't even enact the seatbelt law properly because the prescribed distance wasn't even in the provisions of the Act. The prescribed distance was set by the delivery companies.
No problem with that, but you cannot go down that road to get there. I don't know. I'm a Camden officer.
Oh, well, yeah, you said you don't know, but you don't know about the whole thing. You don't know about any of it. And you're totally bluffing it and blagging it like Max Hill, Director of Public Prosecutions. You're bluffing it. And part of you just doesn't know the law.
No, I have to be honest, I don't know this area. But I'm pretty
Well, what
sure
she actually means is, if you don't know the area, how can you know what the vicinity is? If you don't know the area, how do you know it's in the vicinity? And how do you know how the vicinity is laid out in three-dimensional space? And what comes? She just said she doesn't know the area. So how do you even know how the area is? And how do you even know the road? She just said that road. Oh, you can't go down that road. And then she just says, oh, I don't know this area. Well, she knows what road it is. I think she's lying. She's coming...
we wouldn't be having this conversation, okay?
No, well, you shouldn't be having the conversation. The conversation is illegal, madam, because you're breaking the law of an enactment that you are blatantly disregarding, which exists and can be used. And the police refuse to acknowledge the enactment because of all the enactments. The one thing it does is forbid in law police from taking any business in these activities, and no one else. Only police, those who are enforcing law and engaging in law. It is specifically made and enacted targeting only law officials and no one else in society except uniformed people, prosecutors and judges, lady. No one. The law is made against you to make you a criminal. You in uniform break this law. The law prevents you and your colleagues from doing anything. The law's written for you and no one else. You, the police, cannot do it.
So into that, okay, there are also Section 14 conditions on this assembly, okay? Saying it can continue, but not here, okay?
Rubbish! You cannot tell people where to have meetings when they're using that enactment and what members of the public they can and can't. And also, she just said you can't go down that road. So that road is not this road. That road is not this road. If they're not on what you term and define as that road, surely vicinity is a road. This is actually ridiculous now. She's claiming she doesn't know the area. Then they're talking about a road, which clearly is not where they're stood there. A vicinity, which they don't have any distance for at all. Black belt barrister, even without the petition protections, would literally write this off. I mean, he would. She doesn't even know the area. She's clearly defined that there is a road, but it's not where they are now. But there's the odd. They can say vicinity, but they don't know how big the vicinity is. But clearly, it's something like, from what the Act says, their house or directly opposite them, or something like that. They're not even. I don't even think that they're at the end of the road from where Khan's house is. You know, at the most, it will push it, I think, for someone's local shop, like end of the street local shop at the most. And it's not for political actions which are protected. It isn't. It's for people, like, it's mainly for teenagers and youths and things like that. It's got the Crown property in there. So, you know, and even if it was a Crown property, if you're delivering a petition there to the Crown property, you don't need to go inside it because they've got like a security guard and they've got full security at the Royal Grounds, and you can just give it to the security, or you could probably ask them to, if you wanted to give it personally, you could ask them. You could ask them to escort you in there or whatever, you know?
Continue, but elsewhere. So if you wish to go to Tooting Common, got no problem with that, rather than City Hall, no problem with that, but you cannot go down that road to get there. I don't know, I'm a Camden officer, I have to be honest, I don't know this area.
You don't know the law. You don't know law.
But I'm pretty sure there is going to be a very short detour.
Well, pretty sure. I don't even think that you're pretty sure about anything. You don't know the area. There's a road, but they're not at this road. The vicinity is not even got any measurements to it or size. And when I read the Act, its focus is if you're in a property next to it or opposite it or on private land, not in a like a public area like this. I don't think that even if it was one of those houses behind a hat there at the top, one of those windows and a person, right? I don't think that you could move them from there where they are now, because there's a right to congregate and go to those shops under consumer standards and trading standards as well. And they are there. It's clear they're transacting Stop Ulez, which is direct. The thing is, Stop Ulez is asking the mayor to make or change the law, but getting the public to support it. And specifically, the public who are under the mayor, which includes all his constituents, who you need signatures to collect. So the idea is preposterous. It doesn't compute, because it's a mayor who you need to address because he's in the position and he's the person that you're asking, or you wouldn't have a right to petition him or the government. Effectively, they're saying that you don't have the right to petition the mayor and or collect signatures from his constituents, who are the ones who you need to collect it from, or you can only collect it from his constituents in the common, not here. It's so, you know, these police really need sacking.
All right.
We're not allowed to go.
That's the bottom line.
She knows it's it's not a bottom line, it's a top line. She's just giving it away now. She knows what the right to petition is. It's not a bottom line, it's a top line. It overrides her duties, and particularly when she knows that they're transacting Stop Ulez to the public. You can't break up a public meeting. You can't stop them transacting to those public there. It's proceedings that is judged by peers through a lawful process, and the police have got no business to get involved in it whatsoever. So they all need arresting. And if they did use force to move them on, there's additional offences there. That Audit in Britain guy got sexually assaulted by a police officer the other day.
I hope I've never given you any cause to give you any grief or anything like that.
Where the situation lies. And I have to tell you now that we're ready to move into the arrest phase.
We've already told everyone we're going to move, so we're just deciding what to do.
If you guys do it...
She doesn't... They don't understand the principle of the judgment of the peers, which is put into effect. That's what the police don't get. Because if they prosecuted them, they'd have to go to court. The police don't understand that they've already got a judgment. There is already one. You can't go to a court. That's the part that the police are getting and they don't understand. And the thing with the police is they're just like arresting people for this or that and then bungling them through the police station and then whatever you call processing it. But they're sending them to a court of law. They're already in a legal proceeding. The police need to learn and understand this. They don't get it. They don't understand it. And they're not going to get a jury in a magistrate's court if it was a jury, but it's not a jury because they've got their own jury.
We are trying to do that, yes. Obviously, there's a lot of people here. We are trying to do that. So
I'll let you
do the shout on my megaphone.
Oh, she'll let them. They actually, at this point, they are actually being harassed by the police. And the police should have been arrested. But what can you do? We don't have any holding facilities. We don't have handcuffs to detain them. We don't have any processing or booking in. The best that you could do is ring up the lawyer, the lawyer that Kingsley Hamilton uses. They actually could have grabbed hold of the police and arrested them. They would probably have to take the radios off them because they'd probably tried to call for backup or help, and then it got a bit messy. They could have just grabbed hold of them, arrested them, detained them, and then rung up the MK Law, got her to come down and start taking statements from them. And then, well, this is the thing. She would have had to do all the paperwork that the police normally do and send it into a magistrate's court and say, we're charging you all with harassment of a lawful public meeting and political campaign. Well, they're threatening with a prosecution, aren't they? Illegal prosecution. So it's subverting the liberties and rights of the realm. There's something with the police. In normal common law, which is what this is, right? The police are only equal to you. They don't have any, just because they're police officers means nothing. They can break the law as easily on the spot as anyone else. And I think they've got this false confidence with the uniform and the fact they can just pick a radio up and get their pals and buddies to come and they'll support them and back them up. I know a few times the police have ended up arresting some of the Ulez van people if they've done something or whatever wrong. Instead of the Ulez protesters, they've actually arrested the council van people. But this is like, they've got quite a few officers there. They've got a gang, and it's equipped, and they've got like they can call a bigger gang. And then, they've got all this legislation they can reel off, but, who can't? And, it's all the processing books and things like that. You could, if you had money, you could just set up an office with all, get the forms. If you had funding, like if you had, a little amount of funding, enough that could run, say, a small business, that kind of funding, you could have a mobile processing unit, lawful one, which could arrest and process police officers, question them, charge them, and then release them. You could do it in a van. As long as you've got a lawyer there who knows how to fill the forms in, charge them, hold them, detain them, send them into the magistrate's court and get them booked in. You don't need the police station. This is it. And once they've been charged, they can do what they want. You give them the form. Sometimes, a lot of people get held in the cells overnight or whatever, which is not very nice. You probably wouldn't have the facilities to do that. But if you do it all by the law and the act, but then you've got all the regulations for, the cells, and the rest of it. But I think that, if it was like, I guess if you've got a vehicle that's, complies with all the legislation, if you've got like a van, like a police van, say like an 8-seater minibus, it's got the seat belts in, it's safe, you could sit them in there because really it complies to all the vehicle safety requirements. We need to start getting these people charged. And really, I don't think they should have the privilege of just, getting a letter through the post saying there's someone to court. I don't really know how MK Law go about it. Maybe they go to the police station and the police have to get the officers called in to sit in the interrogation room with the lawyer, and it's the other way around, Maybe they use the police interrogation rooms. They've got too much confidence. This vicinity thing as well, they're using it like... that's ridiculous. This is why people are scared of these laws. I like how the seatbelt law, they used, vicinity, and then they brought it down to 50 metres. You could say that, well, in law, when they say vicinity, right, maybe it did mean like the local village or whatever, but now it means 50 metres. It used to mean that. You could say to this policewoman, and this is on a different point, because we're not even talking about the peer judgment and the rest of it, right? We're just talking about in the act to do with how it's written for this whole offence. The thing is that acts of law have said vicinity before, but then they decide to prescribe a distance. Now, if you say, well, when they say vicinity, they must mean 50 metres, right? Because they're doing the seatbelt, and you're travelling in a car, you're travelling quite a distance if you're travelling at 30 mile an hour, right? So, if you wear your seatbelt for the vicinity, well, it used to be interpreted as, what this police officer woman's doing is she's using the word vicinity around the old terms for seatbelt, which did kind of mean around the area that she's saying, right? Or on the actual delivery route, even. But now it's 50 metres. But that's evidence that in an act which covers general distances that you might be driving in and around or travelling in and around, that vicinity means about 50 metres. So I don't think that they're 50 metres away from Sadiq Khan's house. I think they're further. That would be something that I would throw at Black Belt Barrister as a... I mean, maybe he would knock that back and say, well, you know, that's a different act. But you could say that, well, it means like a sort of area that you might manoeuvre or drive in a local area, you know, and be operating in. And as a guide, it could be used as a guiding law because it's a prescribed law. And it's, you know, when you're talking about a vicinity, you're used to delivering vicinities, you know, to shops and things like that. And now it's 50 metres, but it was vicinity. So you could say that, you know, you could say that they didn't give a number, but you could say, well, it would be preposterous for them to start throwing around vicinity anywhere over 50 metres when she didn't even know the area and all the other factors. But apart from that, there's a law that says the police, no one else, not really someone in a shop, people who might prosecute aren't allowed to. It's illegal. That's police. So, you know, they're in a public meeting transacting information clearly to the people who walk past. If they're harassing Sadiq Khan, firstly, I'm going to throw some more Black Belt Barrister complicated stuff in now because it's just coming to my mind. These are all the sort of questions that I would think that someone like Black Belt Barrister could probably put into this. Say to the woman, can Sadiq Khan see these signs from his window? Yes or no? Can he hear us from his window, or is it all melded in with the sound of the traffic and noises, you know? Oh, well, he might see you if he wants to go out. Yeah, but then he's not at his house anymore, is he? He's going away. He's going away. He's leaving, you know? Well, he might have to come past you. Oh, no, he's coming past us. Why doesn't he go the other way around the common, you know? It's trying to make out that you're loitering, you know, specifically outside and no excuse or reason, but there is a reason. There's a lawful reason because it's a lawful due process which can't be intervened in. You know, it's just ridiculous.
Just so you know, the Trail Road.
So we can't go down it. Okay, some of them wanting to go down. I'll let them know.
You are absolutely not going down Trail Road.
That's fine. I'll let them know that we're not doing that.
I don't think they can stop you travelling on a specific route or down a road because this law is for loitering or hanging around as well. How are you harassing? How are you harassing if you're travelling somewhere? Because you're actually travelling somewhere. That would... And what about if you're in perpetual motion? You know? Saying you can't like drive past in a circle round and round and round. You know? Then you could start just getting... You could start saying, there's a motorbike that comes past at 5:30 in the morning some mornings and I want him to go a different way. Can I get the police to tell him to go a different way because he's harassing me at 5:30 every morning? I might use this act to do that then. If you can't go past a certain route, I might use that act for that. And he's definitely not doing a petition campaign, I can tell you that for starters.
I'm not here to try and fight with you. I don't want to fight with you. That's not what we're about. And I don't want it to be bad press. So I'll just... I need to pass that message on. You can give me a few minutes to do that.
Absolutely, I'll give you those minutes.
Thank you very much.
Right, thank you.
Right, thank you, guys.
I want to ask you a question. Do you realise that you've trodden on our human rights?
Yeah.
That's right. Human rights.
Right, let me come out of the way.
Section 42 alarm of distress is just a cop out. They're acting as a corporation.
Right, let me come up here. Are you alright if I just shout on the mic thing? Is that going to... You sure you're okay, yeah? Right, sweet guys. Right, guys and girls, Kingsley here. We have been told that